guys, it's Prof Chipboard here with my Week 2 match against Shoquafina of the Lake Huron Lanturns for the GPL. I've got my team builder here, and Shoquafina has a team of Heatran, Scolopi, Crobat, Hitmonlee, Kecleon, Golduck, Megarotario, Vaporeon, Umbreon, Chestnut and Exploud. And first sort of thing I saw against his team is he doesn't really have anything which Manaphy can't kill. His best way of dealing, his best sort of thing at walling it is his Umbreon, if I don't have Signal Beam, or his Vaporeon. And with this set, I get neutral damage on everything and super effective on the Vaporeon. I'm not overly worried about the Umbreon. It can't do a huge amount to me, particularly when I'm set up, and particularly with his bulk investment, it really won't do too much. I think at +6, even a max Spadef Umbreon is 2-hit KO by Scald, so it really won't take me on at all well. The speed investment is 301. He's got a big speed gap between a Scolipede and his Crobat, and then his next fastest mon, which is Hitmonlee. Scolipede is 115, Crobat is 113, and his next fastest is Hitmonlee at 87, and that caps out at 300. Unless it's unburdened, but at that point nothing I have is going to outspeed it. So I speed creep there. That means I can hopefully won't have to take a high jump kick, and means I'll outspeed everything else on his team quite easily, unless it's a Scarf Exploud. But Scarf Exploud I'm not too worried about. It doesn't do a huge amount of damage, and I can switch around because I have a normal resist. Scald there is just for general stab. Ice Beam is there to hit the Chestnut, and Energy Ball is there so that I can take on Vaporeon. That gives me perfect coverage against his team, and really he's going to have a hard time stopping it. Next thing I noticed was that he does not have a Volt Switch immunity. He doesn't have a ground type. Nothing he really has takes on Zapdos particularly well. Particularly as he's got two resistances. One is Heatran, and can't really do that much in return. The other is Chestnut, and I have Air Cutter, which is stab, and we'll take that out. But it also beats for Hitmonlee. Doesn't fare particularly well against the Altaria, this, but it's basically everything else on his team has a really tough time against it. Charty Berry is there because his best two physical ways of taking it down from Scolipede and Hitmonlee, which it otherwise beats, are Rock Slide or Stone Edge and Rock Slide. Charty Berry means I'll take that quite easily and can KO back with an Air Cutter, which is why I'm running a slower, bulkier one, because I haven't bothered to speed creep with Hitmonlee. I just don't think it's necessarily worth it because of the bulk I lose out on. Spread is basically so it outspeeds a Specs Exploud, and I think Heatran will outspeed me, but I'm not really fussed about that. I don't intend on having my Zapdos in against Heatran unless it's 100% necessary. Anyway, next up is my Mesprit. Tanga Berry is there because it means I potentially, if he's lead Scully, basically means I can stay in and he can't set up from turn 1. I'm quite afraid of that thing. It's just a huge offensive threat, but that means I can take it on. He's only got. I'm walled by the Vapor. I'm sorry, walled by a lot of things on his team, but it's not really here to do damage. It's here as a switch into the Hitmonlee. It's here to switch into Crobat, and it can switch into Scully. Toxic is nice because it toxic both his big walls, which are now the Vaporeon and the Umbreon. Both of them are quite susceptible to being toxic. I don't mind if I get synchronized toxic. It's just nice to get the chip damage off because they do have very reliable recovery. Next up we have Spadef, Sleep Talk, Aggron. The reason I'm bringing this is because I'm quite worried about Exploud. It's partially for the Exploud and partially for the Altaria. no sort of physical setup Altaria set will be a Mega Aggron, and potentially a Cotton Guard one, but I'd be very very surprised if he brought that, and he would have to rely on mono attacking Fairy, and this will just take any physical hit from a Fairy type, really easy, even with no investment. So that's why I'm bringing. So he basically has to bring Fire Blast on it, which is why I'm next per def. Earthquake, Heavy Slam, give me perfect coverage for his team. I can't really hit. There's a couple of his walls I can't really hit that hard, but they're both fairly passive offensively, so I wouldn't have too much difficulty switching out to get some momentum. Next up is Phantom Limb. This is an interesting set. The speed is there, so I outspeed a max speed Scarf. I can't remember what it is. It's base 70. The speed is there for it to outspeed something. I can't remember what it is. Oh, it's max speed Crobat. Yeah, speed is there, so I outspeed max speed Crobat with my Scarf. U-turn is for momentum, just so I can get a favourable matchup. Superpower and this amount of attack investment OHKO's most Exploud sets. Really chunks Umbreon. It does a nice bit of damage to Heatran as well. Hurricane, just again, he's only got for one resistant flying type resistance for in Heatran, so he doesn't deal with that well, even with especially bulky mons. And Sludge Wave is there, so that I'm not set up for Mega Altaria, and means that I can go. Oh yeah, I can get a +1. I outspeed Mega Altaria. No, I don't. No, it's base 80, but I can still Sludge Wave and do some damage. Yeah. It's just really a mixed set there. I'm not too worried about it, but it gives me some nice coverage and it gives me a win con at the end. Other than if Manaphy goes down. Finally, we have Flygon making its first appearance. It's got Earthquake, Toxic, Default Ninetale, 301 speed. So again, that's outpacing the Hitmonlee. Earthquake is sort of generally quite good for coverage. Means I have something. I have Stab, Earthquake to deal with that Heatran, and this thing switches in on it fairly easily because it resists both stabs. Gives me a Defogger because I don't really have room on my Zapdos set for Defog. Toxic is again nice for his walls because they do have reliable recovery, but they don't tend to have enough room. They will struggle to find room on their movesets for Heal Bell, which they do get because it's Vaporeon and Umbreon. Iron Tail is there in case he tries to set up with Altaria in front of me. I think with the attack investment it does. It can do anything up to about 75%. So if he's offensive and is coming after rocks, I think it stands a chance of killing. Obviously, the accuracy is terrible. I don't really want to be in that matchup anyway, but it's there just in case. I was considering running Quick Attack, just in case he was Sash Scolipede, but I kind of thought that's redundant because I've got a couple of things which Scolipede will struggle, even if it's set up to take out in one hit, such as my Manaphy, which actually it's a +2 Adamant Scolipede with no boosting item it's a 31% chance to OHKO with a +2 Mega Horn. I'm not sure. I haven't got Mechanics on that for the hand, but that will take any hit quite nicely, and obviously this will just ball it. I mean, even a +2 Earthquake is really going to struggle to break through. Okay, so without further ado, let's go into the replay. And I lead off with Mesprit, just to sort of get rocks. I predict him to taunt me here, and I Psychic first turn, as he does taunt me, get some nice damage off. He can't roost on me, so I just sort of Psychic again, just to damage whatever comes in, and it is the Heatran. It's nice to see here it's Balloon. The fact that it's Balloon means that it's not carrying Power Herb Solar Beam, which is the only thing it can really do to hurt my Manaphy, and it means I can switch it in very safely on it. Now here I predict him to rocks and go into my Manaphy knowing that I'm safe, and then I basically set up a Tail Glow as he switches into Vaporeon and predict him Scald. Now here, I understand why he made this play. I didn't want to set up any further. I think he could just about take this if he was max Spadef. I think it was a roll if he was 252, calm. But I think he gets access to raw off the top of my head. If not, I didn't want to get toxic or anything really, so I just click energy ball. It's pretty safe. He's got two things which 4 times resist it, but one of them is at half health, and the other doesn't want its sash to go if it's got a sash, and it's not particularly bulky otherwise. Out comes the Scolipede. He sets up a Swords Dance here. He sash. I scold just to get some damage off. If he was Life Orb, Mega Horn, I would take that reasonably well. It would be a 2-hit KO, and unluckily here for him, he gets a burn. Now, this is basically game because of my expert belt here, because I can OHKO basically everything else on it which he has left. I understand why he set up the Swords Dance, because it doesn't really have a good check mana fee, and basically he needed to weaken it, and he knew that he needed to set up the Swords Dance to kill it in one. Personally, I would have gone out into Crobat and Super Fanged, and that way my mana fee would have been at half health, and then you can go in with the Scolipede, and you don't have to risk the Skull Burn, and you don't necessarily have to Swords Dance to at least scare it out. I don't think this really matters overall, because I do have a really, really good team matchup against him, and I think it potentially might have helped matter with differential, but it's overall it's kind of it was the fact when mana fee gets set up, it can be very difficult to stop, and particularly if you don't have an electric type like he doesn't, or your grass type is slower, you're really in trouble. And unfortunately for him, the rocks were just gave you that chance to switch in freely and set up, which is a bit unfortunate for him. I think that makes him 0-2 and makes me 2-0. But obviously, not like I wasn't expecting that to go down at all like that, because he's a better player than that. I think he was slightly annoyed at himself, but it can be very difficult if you don't have the mons to deal with mana fee or something like that. Yeah, so thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you again for next week.